Welcome back. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi have gave his results, his directives to make optimum use or management of mineral resources and raw materials, and of course to develop with the new vision for 2030 of course, global warming, climate change, and preserving of the environment. The President Sisi's remarks came during a meeting with the Prime Minister, Dr. Mustafa, and also with Minister of Petroleum, Dr. Tariq Al-Mulla, and Minister of Public Business Sector, Mahmoud Asman, to shed more light over this important topic. We're very delighted to be having with us Dr. Mustafa Tamaam, is a professor of political science and also a political and economic analyst. Good morning, Dr. Tamaam.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Why is it a must to make a management or optimum management of mineral resources and raw materials?
Well, certainly because these two mineral resources and materials are quite an important factor in developing the economy. And the country also, specifically in Sinai, is very rich in these resources. And certainly by exploiting these and using them, we could reduce the demand on imports, which sometimes are not very necessary, and will have a positive impact on the exchange rate of the foreign currency, and will save us a lot of foreign currency in importing these materials.
Right. Also to rationalize the resources instead of importing them.
Exactly.
Right. Yes. What about the importance of adopting the best modern management, the methods and the governance principles, and coping with the latest means of that particular process?
Well, the management of these resources is very important, and the first part of it will be using the state-of-art technology in exploring and finding these resources, you see. On the other hand, it's very, very important as it will attract foreign investors and probably local investors to invest in this domain. And certainly this will give a positive impact on elevating the economy.
Right. Also you talked about the latest state of art and especially the IT, which is the newest technologies and that could be applied on almost every front and sphere when it comes to managing mineral resources, when it comes to managing economies, when it comes to managing finances and all that. So how important is it to focus over developing the IT technologies in the field of mineral resources and raw materials? And how could that be applied?
Certainly, this will be. This is a very, very important factor because IT is not only important in mineral resources; it's applied elsewhere in other aspects, worldwide, not only in Egypt. On the other side, certainly, it will be very important that we provide training and the know-how to the people who are going to use these technologies, because certainly this is something new that we are not very much aware of, and certainly we will need a lot of training, and in order to have these to the state of the art. On the other side, it will be very important as it will be facilitate and will cut the time of in procedures, you see. So certainly using IT is very, very important.
Right. How could we apply it? I mean, after taking all procedures of training and adopting youth and employees to be able to enter into or integrate into that process, how can we apply it at its best? And what could be the best experience according to Egypt in that domain?
Well, certainly, we could apply it certainly in a certain area, and then we see what are the problems that have occurred, and then we try to solve them in order that when we apply it in other sectors, it will succeed. So it's very, very important to have an ongoing committee to take over and to see the problems, probably that certainly, because when you're introducing a new concept, certainly you find a lot of problems. Certainly, So you need someone to solve these, to take a decision how to overcome these problems. So this is very, very important. And certainly, as I mentioned, training also is very important.
Right. Explain to us how is raw materials could be a treasure to any nation. Raw materials and mineral resources are very important. It might be a source of revenue. It might be a source of national income if it's applied and used in its best ways and according to the latest techniques and technologies.
Well, certainly, this is something very well known, because the mineral resources are used as an input in a lot of industries, and probably in the energy sector also. Probably the gas is probably, we have the gas now, which is certainly a source of clean energy, you see. So, and also on the other side, these minerals are used in a lot of areas, you see. So certainly they're very, very important to the economy.
So how do you evaluate the state's efforts in scaling up the surplus value and boosting the industrial action plan in the state and the national economy?
Well, actually, the president had given instructions in order to encourage industrialization. And certainly this will come, and a very important factor we need is to have technicians. You see, encourage young people to go into the technical side, because unfortunately we have a shortage in this domain. So certainly technical education is very, very important, because this is the highlight, and this is the startup in order to start up an industry. So this is a very important factor that we should consider, and certainly transferring the technology also to these technicians is very, very important in order to be on the up-to-date standards.
Right. Egypt is distinguished by its geographical existence or spot on the map in the Middle East and worldwide, because it has the deserts and it has the shores and it has the, Sahara, and it has also the seas, and it has the Nile River. I mean, it has a diversified geographical spot on the map. So that would create a wealth of mineral resources. Talk to us about the importance of Egypt's geographical place on the map, and how is that affecting its share of mineral resources?
Well, certainly also Egypt is located on a strategic location, you see, because it is the spot between Europe and Asia, and the Far East and Africa also. And certainly by encouraging such projects in the mineral resources, certainly this will attract the companies also to come here if you have the know-how and the high technology. To encourage probably we could transfer this technology to the African continent. So certainly, as you're aware, that Egypt now is giving a lot of thrust and importance to the African continent. And certainly Africa also is very rich in mineral resources. So certainly by providing the know-how and assistance, this will be very, very important to be a strategic probably plan in order to upgrade the African continent itself.
Right. Also, we need to learn more about the steps that have been taken to promote the country's tantalum element, which is used in several advanced industries now.
Well, certainly the first step certainly will be to have a proper infrastructure, and certainly the state has spent a lot of money in order to upgrade its infrastructure, because without a proper infrastructure, certainly it will be very difficult also to apply IT and to apply the state-of-art technology. So certainly the first step will be certainly, and the state, as I mentioned now, put a lot of effort in this respect, is upgrading the infrastructure.
Also, according to the latest vision for 2030, and in order to rationalize the leftovers and the garbage and make the best use of it, and recycling have become one of the major and most important foundations for any economic development, as we all know. And it is a mean to stand up to climate change. The raw materials and the leftovers and the garbage and all the things that we do not need it, the leftovers from industries and all that, this could be used as energy, and it could be used as raw materials for other industries by recycling. Talk to us about that.
This is a very important thing, and certainly, unfortunately, waste here in Egypt is very high, you see, in a lot of aspects. Certainly, the first step will be is to rationalize the use of material, you see, because unfortunately, we have a lot of waste, you see, so this is considered a drawback also in our society, you see. So we have the first, and certainly because we are the worldwide economic situation is not very favorable. So the first step is to rationalize our usage of all materials, see, and not only in all aspects. And certainly the second step, certainly as you just mentioned now, is to make use of the recycling process, because this is a very profitable industry, and certainly it will have a positive impact on the climate change itself.
There are many NGOs and there are many international communities that are specialized and interested, that they have a special concern on that particular sphere. And they are adapting measures, and they are very concerned about the environment, they are very concerned about green economy, they are very concerned about the consumption of those raw materials and mineral resources. Are there any protocols, are there any cooperation or partnership with those fronts and organizations with the government?
Certainly we have a lot of, the main issue is that we have benefit from the experiences of these organizations which have a lot of know-how in this area. You see, certainly the point is how to apply this. To have what I suggest is to have an action plan in order to implement all these recommendations, you see, and having a committee also to elevate obstacles, because certainly in any project you'll be finding obstacles. Certainly it's very, very important to have an action plan, and follow up and the control is very, very important in order that this project will succeed.
Talk to us about the wealth that Egypt possesses in mineral resources, because like I said, it's very diversified and it has been ongoing for years and years, and even by now we keep discovering other resources on some areas, as you talked about the importance of the location of Egypt. So talk to us about the importance of Egypt's mineral resources and what exactly is the most important mineral resources that Egypt produces.
Certainly, the point is that Sinai probably is very, very rich in a lot of resources. And the state now is giving a lot of importance in having a lot of projects there in the industrial and in the agricultural domain. This certainly first will encourage the citizens to find a job there, and certainly will elevate the economy, and certainly finally will have a positive impact on reducing the imports of a lot of products that we could find here. You see, we have, you see, in the agricultural domain, in the probably in the gas fields, you see, in the metals, you see a lot of metals that are existing there. So certainly, and the state is giving a lot of importance. I think the past few weeks we had the president has been visiting there, Sinai, and has been encouraging these projects.
Right. The world is full of very successful experiences in extracting mineral resources, and countries with that are rich or depending basically on their mineral resources, like Japan, like we have countries like India, and we have even places in the Gulf that are based on mineral resources. We have Russia also. So talk to us about the very successful experiences of economies that are based on mineral resources, and how can we extract the wealth in order to boost our economy, and what is the best leading example for Egypt?
Certainly, this is a very important point, and the cooperation in order to get the best know-how is very, very important in this respect. We have a lot of companies, you see, at present, probably from Europe, operating here in Egypt in these domains now. And certainly, the state encourages all that. But on the other hand, probably what is very, very important is that we need to train nationals, you see, because most of these companies, they use expatriate personnel. So certainly in order to have a long-term plan and a long-term probably strategy, it will be very important to train our human resources on the state-of-the-art technologies in this respect.
What are the challenges that could meet any country while trying to enforce its source of mineral resources? I mean, what do we have to do or focus over environmental-wise, climate-wise, pollution-wise, in order to maintain our mineral resources?
This is very important. Certainly, there should be probably a strategy of awareness of the dangers of the climate changes. You see, if we focus on the risks and the dangers of not using proper strategies, that will affect us, will affect the whole worldwide on the long run in a lot of aspects. So certainly, so it will be a sort of communication, and the media certainly is playing a very important role in order to highlight the importance of these factors that you just mentioned now.
Explain to us the definition of raw materials. Could any leftover be a raw material? Could anything that is extracted from beneath earth is a raw material? What is exactly a very useful raw material, and what is a dangerous raw material?
Certainly, the first very, very dangerous new material are first the nuclear, the materials used in nuclear energy. You see, these are, and we have a station at the north coast which is built, which is under construction now. So certainly, using the materials for nuclear energy is very risky. You see, and should be. We have to have a very safety strategy in order to ensure that everything is all right. That's the first thing. On the other side, there are certain probably materials which are very, very important for us. You see, the metals and the oil and the gas and all these and their subsidiaries, because they are considered the inputs for the industry.
Right. And the future of Egypt when it comes to the management of mineral resources, where can we scale that particular, activity on the scale or on the map of economy?
Certainly, the management is very, very important, and as you just mentioned, our president has given the instructions in order to upgrade and introduce latest techniques in management, certainly. And we have a lot of cooperation between foreign countries which are operating here in Egypt, and the point here is that we should grasp their management techniques. We should take the good parts and the positive experiences that these companies have reached, you see, in order that we could upgrade our management system, because these foreign companies are very advanced, not only in management, in technology and other aspects, and certainly by transferring these concepts to our citizens here, this will upgrade the mineral resources and the management of it and on the other hand.
Talking about the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the head of state, in order to make the best management of mineral resources and raw materials. In that sense, should we say that he is directing for the government to export those, treasures and make the best use of it in terms of foreign currency, or at the same time industrialize or focus on industrializing on mineral resources and the raw materials? How does it operate?
Well, I think on both sides, you see, because certainly from one side, we should, the first thing is to see what are our needs here and satisfy and meet the needs of the economy. And if we have a surplus, certainly this will be exported. So certainly with these two, we are working on two parallel domains, you see, on seeing our needs and meeting them, and then on the other side, if we have a surplus, we're going to export it.
When we talk about the wealth, of course, it is not, it might not be related to the subject of mineral resources or with raw materials, but energy is a very important element. And as we know that energy nowadays in the modern technology and in the modern world is not related only to gas. It's not related to the old-fashioned elements that we used to derive from the bottom of earth. Energy could be extracted from raw materials. It could be extracted from garbage. It could be extracted from the waste of animals. And it could be extracted from anything that you could imagine. And we have seen some technologies that are based on that in some modern countries. So talk to us about this, and if mineral resources could be, energy could be derived from mineral resources or from raw materials in not the stereotype way.
Well, certainly this is a very important point, and certainly the state will be giving a lot of importance and emphasis in this respect. The point is certainly that we don't have the know-how, because this is a very, very technical subject, you see, and and certainly we are not very much aware, because we, as you just mentioned now, we use traditional sources of energy. And this is certainly worldwide now had been changed a lot, because certainly the world now use certain various sources of energy, and there are which are certainly preserving the climate as well. Certainly, what we are doing now is we are taking the techniques from these countries which have been which had success stories in this respect, and certainly will be applying them. And I'll give you an example. We have the atomic energy station, which is at the north coast. This is a very good example of using the non-traditional energy.
Right. Dr. Mustafa Tamaam, Professor of Political Science and our political and economic analyst, would like to thank you so much, and you have a good day. And we're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.